Hi, I'm Dennis Gage, and welcome to My Classic Car. Well, this week we're in Springfield, Illinois, the capital of the great state of Illinois, for the Route 66 Mother Road Festival. This is a really nice city, and they know how to put on a car show here. There's probably 1,000 cars and some really interesting stuff. Let's get around and check a few of them out. Coop, how you doing, man?
Having a great day. Fantastic.
You are. This is really cool. You know,
Yes.
you had me here last year just as a,
Right.
guest, and I was blown away. I had shot this like 19 years ago.
Yeah.
Man, I just thought it's grown. I love the city, and you've got so many cool cars here.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad I'm not a judge at this show. I wouldn't know what to do. There's so many fantastic rides.
How many cars?
1,006 are here today, so.
Wow, that's a good number.
Yes, it is. Yes.
So where do you draw from? Is it mostly a regional, or people coming from far and
Well,
wide?
I was a spectator at the show at one point, and it's 23 years into it now. And it's called International Route 66 because internationally we used to have cars coming over from France and Europe before COVID,
Wow.
and that knocked it out. Starting to get back to that because we have cars here from Germany and Canada today.
Oh, no kidding.
So, but I'd say the brunt of them are. There's 20 different states that we see on the registration screens, from California, Oregon, and Florida this time, and I know there's more, but that's kind of what it's like. So.
Well, and I've talked to a lot of people who are, this is my 8th time I've been here. This is my 12th time I've been here. It's a show people like coming back to.
Yes, well, it's generational. There's a family, a guy told me the other day, because I've got my kids got a 60s car, right up the ladder of every generation bringing a car, and that's this year. I think that's neat when you have families doing stuff like that.
It really is. I mean, the city seems to embrace it because you take over
absolutely.
the capital of Illinois.
This is the biggest event in Springfield. They want this here, and as we approach the 100th anniversary in 2026, it'll be doubled what you see here today.
Man, that'll be a big one. Yeah. I had a great time last year. I'm having a great time this year. What do you say we get around and look at a few of the cars?
Let's do that.
Let's do it, man.
Let's do it. Okay.
So Tony, I'm staying at the Host Hotel, and I'm 9th floor, and I'm looking out the window this morning, and I clear down in the parking lot. I see this green machine, and it's, the rear end's pointed toward me, and I'm going, I'm sure it's a Mopar. I can't quite tell what it is, and I don't think there's a hood on it, but boy, that looks interesting. And it turns out it is really interesting.
A face only a mother could love.
Well, it is. These are love it or hate it cars. I mean, they're these things that are like almost so ugly they're cool.
Yeah, 100%. It was the worst selling Plymouth of all time.
Yes, it was. It actually was, because it's a Virgil Exner.
Yep.
So you've got all these weird Virgil Exner touches. At least these aren't completely floating free like they are on some of his.
Right, like the Imperials.
But it's still got a lot of that DNA in it. And some of the stuff he did was weird, but some of the stuff he did was just right on. And I've always dug this car. So this is a 61?
61 Belvedere.
61 Belvedere. Where'd you find it? Because it looks amazingly solid.
We're from Minnesota, and it was in Adams, North Dakota. I bought it in a field. Literally a field for $300.
Was it really like a rust bucket?
Not bad, considering. I mean, they rusted from the factory.
Yeah, sure.
They were known to rust out right away, but it was fairly solid.
Wow. I mean, did you have this vision to begin with? Because this is pretty radical.
The first couple minutes, no, I just got it so we wouldn't have to listen to the tow dolly rattle all the way home. Right, we went for another car. But in any event, once I got home, I started thinking how it would look lowered, and it grew on me.
No kidding. Well, so, I see it now with the hood off, and it's a big, looks like a 440. I mean, is it, or?
Yes, well, technically 493.
493, okay. Yep. Well then, not only that, it's got the long ram, which is crazy, that is twin turbo, dual quad long ram, right?
Correct.
Right. I have never seen that.
Yeah, mission accomplished. I wanted something different.
Well, this really is, and I just think you pulled it off, and everything fits so well. I can't believe that just happened.
Well, a friend of mine was instrumental in creating all of this nonsense with my vision, but it helps that the car is as big as the Titanic.
Really, and that you can remove the fender wells and get away with it, because you need all that space for those turbos.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, that's big. So what does it pump out for horsepower?
You know, honestly,
I don't even know.
I don't know. We rented the track once, and I know what the car weighs, so it's got to be over 800. And it could make way more, but it's been together for 9 years, and the crankshaft is still in it. So.
Ooh, yeah. Torque flight transmission.
Yep.
So and you, I mean, you drive this thing. You're going to drive this on the power tour?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's that reliable?
Yeah. It runs on pump gas. It's got a small camshaft. It doesn't overheat. It's just enough to be fun, but not aggravating.
Right. Right. If you know the show, you know I like green cars. So. This one's green for sure. What is the color?
The color is it's either a 2008 or 2010 Viper color.
Okay.
Snakeskin green, and the top is a Chrysler PT Cruiser color, that pastel yellow.
Which, by the way, looks awful on a PT Cruiser, but it looks great on this. It just, and that's the thing I think that I dug the most about it, was that yellow goes so good with this green. This thing looks awesome.
Well, I appreciate that.
And so you dropped it, you way down. Mm-hmm. You obviously tubbed the heck out of it because you have no back seat left.
Correct.
And what are the front seats out of?
They are actually a company in, I believe, Rochester, Minnesota, makes the seats. T's Design. I know they were popular in the 90s, and I've had them since the 90s. So they're his own design.
And that instrument cluster, I've always loved. I mean, that's like, it's like portable. Like you take it off and put it on something else, you know?
Yeah, it's like a George Jetson's pod.
It totally is. It totally is. I just dig everything about this car. How long did it take you to build it?
Well,
Or for it to be built?
I've had it for a long time. It was done in one version, kind of a pastel tangerine color with tweed interior. And then I tore it apart. So I always tell somebody 17 years to get it to this version, or on and off for 3 years when we decided to get it to this.
And then this is a car that I always comment that, you know, it's like, finish this car design with, oh, we forgot tail lights. So they just slapped a couple flashlights on either side, and if you put red lenses and it's a tail light.
It looks like an afterthought, but
It does.
I had a little boy come up one time. He ran up to the car and he said, Daddy, this car has rocket boosters on it.
Well, that's and that's what it's, I think, supposed to look like, probably.
Sure.
But they do look really just stuck on there, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And you've got probably the trunk's just as nice. You got a fuel cell and all that going on in there.
Not a lot of trunk room because of the tubs take up a lot of room, but yeah.
So how wide are your tires?
Their tires are 33, 22 and a half, 15s.
So you're from Duluth, Minnesota.
Yes.
And you came all the way down here for this show?
Yes, I did.
Which is how far?
10 hours.
Wow, that's dedication. And you came because?
Well, I have friends here, and I've never been here. It's a great town.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so many great cars.
There really are. Architecturally, I love Springfield. And you're right, I was actually here last year. And that's what blew me away, was like, man, there's some great, really interesting cars here.
For sure.
And this, I would say, is one of the more interesting ones. 1961 Plymouth Belvedere with a 493 dual quad long ram twin turbo.
Correct.
Wow, you're my hero. Tony, thanks.
Thank
man.
you.
Well, Paul, I met you last year when I was at the show, and I was taken by the car then, and I saw you last night again at the cruise. I've got to find you today. This is such a cool build. I really dig this. This is a 63 Anglia Super?
Estate.
Estate.
Yeah.
Okay. Which meant wagon, right?
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
So English built, right-hand drive, but did they make them for export so you could swap it?
Yeah, it was imported. It actually sold here, so it was left-hand drive.
Oh, so it's imported as
Yeah.
left-hand.
Yeah.
So they kind of made that so you could move them back and forth,
Right.
gauging and everything, right?
Yeah.
So how long have you had this?
Since 1976.
Oh, so a while.
Yeah.
Well, that's a long time.
Yeah.
It didn't always look like this.
No. It was rough. It was really rough. It was a playground for kids. Yeah.
And I mean, really, was that kind of what it was for a long, long time till you started doing this?
Yeah. It drug it from place to place, and
I've done that.
Yeah. I got it running, and it was pitiful. The power was awful.
I can't even tell quite what you've done. The door looks different.
Right. So the B pillar, I leaned that forward a little bit. It was straight up and down.
So you had to completely redo the door too, right?
Redo the door, yeah. And then There was another pillar here. It had a pop out. I took that out and just flat glass. Trim the drip rail, obviously. But,
Well, you know, when I saw it from a distance, I'm going, what does it look like? And especially the rear part of this car.
Yeah.
It looks like a shrunken Blazer.
Yeah, it's different, you know. I mean,
You've lowered it and everything. It can't possibly be on any semblance of an original frame.
no, it would have been a unibody, but it has a modified Alston chassis with a 9-inch Ford.
You know, you didn't really do anything up here, did you?
This had a trim ring around the headlights, and I had to widen the wheelhouse a little bit to get the tires that I have in there. That's the smallest profile 15 that I could fit in there.
That's actually a 15?
That's a 15.
Well, that's a sleeper 15. Well, and I like the interior. I mean, these were, of course, you know, they had a back seat back in the day, originally.
Right.
But there you can see that the dash looks an awful lot over there like it is over here.
Right. That's basic shape that the car came with, but this is a 53 Ford truck, Dakota Digital Dash.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Fit pretty well.
so I fabricated the door for that. And it also, that's not a stereo there, that's actually my climate control in the center.
Oh, okay.
And then the headlights are the right knob, and then the left is the windshield wipers. But that is actually the way that the factory had
The radio would have been.
Yeah.
And what are the seats?
The seats are out of like a Dodge Daytona.
Oh, they look comfy.
Yeah, but I kind of redesigned them to give it a little better flair, a little smoother look.
Did you do them yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I couldn't pay anybody to do them. So.
Too expensive.
Right.
Yeah, but again, this looks like a Blazer to me, man.
Right.
This little baby here, it looks like a
Right.
Blazer. And I don't think this would have been flush glass or
No,
anything, right?
It was flat, cheaper to make, I'm sure.
Right.
You know, I moved the license plate down
Right.
and built a little bit of a roll pan under there.
Can you open it up?
Yeah.
Because it's all smooth. You shaved everything, right?
Yeah.
And this is really nice. What's the wood?
The wood is mahogany.
And then do you have storage underneath it? Or something?
You actually lift this up.
Oh, that's cool.
And then you can pull this up. Fuel tank's under here. It's pretty
Wow.
dirty.
Oh, it's even soft close.
Yeah.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
Go ahead and close it back up. I like how you did the interior back here too. The side panels. It's really nice. You did all that?
Yes.
Cheers.
Yeah, I tried to mimic the Super. It had a little more chrome and that kind of thing on the interior.
Well, you alluded to it, but you're also not running a Anglia engine in this. You got a V8 in it, right?
Yeah,
Let's have a
Harley
look.
would have had more power than this one did.
Yeah, so that's tight. What are we looking at? 350?
It's a 406.
A 406.
Yeah, 406. It's got a sniper fuel injection, and it's got air conditioning.
Well, you
Yeah.
really, I mean, you have all the comforts of home in this thing,
Right,
don't you?
yeah.
How did you get that in there?
A lot of shoehorns.
Oh, man.
And a lot of cutting. Everything was, this is handmade. The firewall is probably in here.
Yeah. What's your transmission?
It's a Power Glide.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I probably should have went with the 700R, but the seats and that right at the back, it gets real narrow. So
Man, that is really tight.
yeah,
And I can't believe you got AC. So you actually drive it
yeah. And we drove it 2 hours in the rain here
to get here?
to get here. Yeah, we drive it everywhere. It's a lot of fun.
Well, you know what's nice? It's not so big that you can clean it back up in a reasonable.
Right. Right.
Well, I close it back up because
Okay.
I just love the lines of this car, and I think that's the thing that caught my eye. It's so clean, like shaved everywhere, and all the workmanship's just really, really good.
I
and
appreciate
you've
it.
pretty
I
much done
appreciate
it
it.
all, right?
Yes.
In your garage.
Yes, 2-car garage. I would work on the half of it and still park my wife's car on the other side, so it wasn't just the 2-car for this. So there was always room for her car.
Well, it's great. It's a 63 Anglia Estate,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Kind of looks like a Blazer, shrunken Blazer in
Yeah.
back. Well, thanks a lot, man.
Thank
Great car.
you.
Love it.
All right.
Well, Marlon, I saw you last night at the cruise, and I don't even from a distance, I went, Well, it's a Scout too. And you don't see those too often anymore. I dig this vehicle. I dig the story behind it. But it's what? It's a 1977?
76.
76. Okay. It's been in the family since it was parts in the factory, right?
Yes.
So what's the story there?
We had a 73 International Travelette crew cab pickup. The oil embargo of 74, gas prices went up. My dad was the state sales manager for a Mormon feed company.
Traveling all over.
Gas was killing him. So he was investigating a diesel and comparing a Mercedes and this one.
So this is actually a diesel vehicle?
Yes,
That's
a diesel
so amazing.
vehicle.
So he ordered this specifically and he had it built?
Yes.
Like factory built?
Him and my mom went in, and I'm sure the red color was my mom, and it came home with the chrome wheels. That would be my mom.
Oh, so these are the wheels it came
These are
with?
the factory wheels.
Really? You're kidding me. Wow, those are pretty slick for international.
Hours and hours of manual labor keeping those
I'll
polished like
bet.
that.
I'll bet. And did it have the fake wood grain or the
Yes, sir.
applique? Is this the
Yeah.
original applique?
That is the original
So
applique.
is the whole thing basically original?
Yes, it is.
Holy cow. So he was a sales manager. He was going to roll some miles on. How many miles does it have?
It's got 154,000.
No
on it.
kidding.
So
Oh my gosh. So even the interior is original, and bucket seats and this fabric?
yes, isn't that gorgeous?
It's great. I can't believe the condition. That must be pretty rugged. Is it kind of a nylon or no? It feels cloth.
It's some kind of cloth,
And all of this, all the gauging and everything is what she came with.
except for the
Oh yeah.
underneath.
Let's know what's going on.
Yeah, they're a little more accurate than those.
And the
Door panels.
Door panels.
Yes, sir.
Kind of a modeled leatherette.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow! How big a family did you have?
It was just four of us,
All
but
right.
and my brother was out of the house by the time we got this, so it was just three of us.
This is crazy. And you were saying something about this thing doesn't start with a key, or it does, or it doesn't stop, or what is the deal?
It does not start with the key. I mean, it starts with the key, but you have to use the glow plug
Over here.
that's under the dash.
Uh-huh.
And when you shut it off, you turn the key off, but you have to pull the engine stop to shut the fuel off.
And so that's what stops it.
That's what shuts it off.
You wouldn't have that today.
No, no. And all diesel Scouts came with tilt steering and no locking column.
Not this wheel though.
No, this is a factory accessories wheel.
You're kidding.
No, it came in the accessories catalog. You couldn't order it from the factory.
In 76?
It was in the 76
Wow.
catalog.
That's
yes.
amazing. This dash pad is not warped or anything.
Garage kept.
Uh-huh. It's incredible shape. I mean, again, you don't see them at all. When you do, because these are work vehicles. These
Yes.
things were beat up.
Yes.
You know, this is an amazing condition. You know, I love this kind of flat, I don't know, textured top. What is this removable or not?
Yes, all
does.
Scouts had removable tops. And this is a long wheelbase. This is a
Yeah.
Scout 2 Traveler model. It's 18 inches longer than a Scout 2.
So this come off all the way to the windshield?
Yes, sir.
What does that weigh?
Well, it takes about 4 guys to take it off.
So you don't just do that.
No,
you just don't do
you
it.
don't do that yourself.
So open it up because you got some cool stuff in here too. Because that's the build sheet, right?
That's the build sheet.
There's your dad's name.
Yes, sir. All special ordered vehicles by a customer, their name is on that build sheet.
It's just amazing you've still got it. How did you manage to hang on to it?
My dad passed away in '79. Mom knew I loved this vehicle, and she just hung on to it. In 1990, she just handed me the title and said, "Here
My
you go."
goodness, that's fantastic. I just can't believe the condition.
And there's how much we trade. There was the trade-in of the Travelette, and this is the sale. You know how much we cost and what we paid for it.
Well, that thing was not cheap either.
No,
Oh, that is cool. Well, the coolest thing about this, of course, is the engine. So let's go have a look at that.
okay.
I haven't seen this engine before. It's a Chrysler Nissan.
Yes.
What's the deal there?
Chrysler was the North American importer for this diesel engine, and should be blue, but Chrysler, because Chrysler was the importer, they had them paint them yellow, and they had their name had Chrysler cast in the valve cover.
Oh my God.
And this engine was
one of the easiest engines that they could R&D into the existing driveline
It just fit in?
with minor changes.
Wow. And has that ever been rebuilt, or as a
sir.
diesel, it just keeps on
It just
keeping
keeps on
on?
going. Yep.
Wow.
Injectors was rebuilt one time, and the transmission was rebuilt once.
That is such a wild looking engine. I'm going to close her down. Can I just drop it?
Yep.
It's a Scout, right?
It's a
It
Scout.
can take it.
It ain't gonna hurt it.
Wow. Like I said, I saw it at the cruise last night. I think it's a cool vehicle. I love the
Thank you.
story. From the point of pieces in the factory to your family and
Yep.
to you, it's just awesome. 1976
Yes, sir.
Scout 2
Traveler.
Traveler, so it's even longer.
Right.
Marlon, thanks for bringing this baby out.
Thank you very much.
Well, Rick, I dig these cars. This was only a 2-year body style, right?
That's correct.
66 and 7.
66,
This is a
seven.
67.
67, yes, sir.
Man, I saw it early this morning, and I don't know that I've seen one that's any cleaner than this and straighter, because these things are a mile long, and I gotta believe it's hard to get this thing straight, and the paint on it is so good. I mean, how did you do it?
It's just a lot of water, sand, and buffing, and TLC.
I bet it is just an awful lot of blocking and sanding and blocking and sanding.
Yes, sir.
Man, so how long you had it?
I got the car in 2001.
Oh, okay. Was it in this kind of condition, or?
I've had most of the car apart to redo everything. I wanted to make it look nice and refurbish everything, but the car was physically painted when I got it, and I water sand and buffed like we talked.
And that's how old this paint is?
It actually was painted in 97.
Wow, I mean, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Because I really, when I saw it, I thought, well, there's a fresh
No, it's
restoration.
not fresh.
Wow, man. I mean, do you drive it, or is this a show car?
No, we drive it. We drive it quite a bit, actually. The last trip we went on was to Columbus, Ohio with it, which is about a 5-hour drive from our house. So
Wow. So were you after a fastback Charger, or that was what you had to have?
I
one of
had
those?
to have one of these cars. My parents had one when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
And they had a 66, and it was red with Krager wheels on it, and I just loved it.
Yeah, well, I understand why. So one of the things I noticed in this car was this pinstripe up here on the roof. Which
Yes.
is that an addition, or?
That is actually a factory option. So if it was a factory stripe delete car, then it wouldn't have the stripe.
And the other thing I noticed is it's sitting up. This isn't the stock height, is it?
No, it has hijackers in the back.
Hijackers. Old school. You really went. So what did you referred to that? What did you call this?
Day 2.
It's a day 2
Day
car.
2 car, yes.
So you buy it day 1 and you do this to
This
it
to day
two.
two.
And hijackers was how we did it.
That's
of
how
course.
we did it, yep.
You just throw those in and
Put some air in them and go.
off you go. Wow. You're not running glass packs, are you?
No, they
Thrash
sound
it.
like it, but
Well, this is, this interior is beautiful too. It's a bucket seat, but with a console in this kind of weird, 4-speed setup.
a little bit different.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's actually a Tremec 5-speed.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, well, and I forgot actually how cool the gauging was in these cars.
It was specific to the Charger, just 66
Yeah.
and 7.
Man.
There's actually no light bulbs in them gauges. They're electroluminescent.
Oh,
Works
yeah.
off of AC voltage.
So is it green?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Greenish blue.
Yeah. Oh, fabulous. And then these fold down and everything, and it goes all the way through, right?
Yes, these seats fold down like that.
Yeah, you're close to being able to put a 4x8 sheet of plywood in, right?
Almost.
But I just love the fastback. I love how this window comes around, and then the fenders are surprisingly square.
Squared off.
Back to here, and then the whole bar lit up.
The whole thing, there's 6 light bulbs across the back
But
there.
it doesn't sequence, right?
No, sir.
Like the T-Birds,
Nope.
but it just
lights up bright.
When you were at night, when you were behind one of these going down the road back in the day, it's like, oh, that's a Charger.
That's
for
right.
Sure. And this is kind of reminiscent of your gauging, actually.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
they kind of carried that through. So it says 440 Magnum. Is that what it has?
Yes, it does.
Well, let's go look at that.
Let's do that.
Wow, what man? I mean this thing looks like showroom. Day two.
Day two.
But the correct black color, the engine bay is body color, which is a Mopar thing.
Mopars, yep. The chrome valve covers were a 67 item.
Oh, so that's
That's factory.
That's factory,
Yep.
not just dress up, huh? Wow, really? You don't have any leaks or anything? This thing just really looks like you don't use it, but you do.
We do. We drive it a lot.
Wow. So, have you been to the Route 66 show before?
Yes, this is, I think, our 8th time we've been here.
I was here last year for the first time in 20 years and was blown away by how big it is and how cool it is. You obviously like it. You keep coming back.
It's a very nice show. It's very well put together, and we have a good time.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, go ahead and close this baby back up because you got to get the full effect, and especially that day 2 stance.
That day 2 stance.
1967 Charger 440 Magnum, day 2.
Day 2.
Rick, thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
Well, Jerry, I love this car. It's a 60 Merc Monterey, and in the hierarchy of Merc, this was actually the bottom of the rung. Is that true?
Yes. Yes, this is just a plain Jane car, and it's got a 3 on a tree in it, and which is very unusual.
The classic plain Jane 3 on a tree. But you've had this quite some time.
Yes, 41 years. I bought it in college, and my mom was not happy about me buying it. So, but she was happy today that what it's turned out to be. My wife first dated it, and then all of our children used to be in the back, the only car that would fit us for a while.
Yeah, they're big cars. I think this was considered probably a mid-sized car back in the day, but it's huge.
Yes. Yeah, this is a very large car. I mean, there's a Montclair and there's Park Lane too, and they're higher up. So I've added a few courtesy things like a clock, that original radio.
Well, you've obviously redone it, right?
Yes.
So was it in pretty rough shape by the time you started to do the restoration?
Yes, someone I bought it from, I would not call it restoration they did. They painted it dark blue, and they kind of really did a very poor job. They just sanded a circle on the hood and then painted color over it. There was no primer. It was really bad, and they painted one doorway and not the other, and it was bondoed up. After I bought it, it started bubbling up.
Wow. So was there a lot of rust in it?
Yes, the trunk was really bad. That was the worst part. I totally replaced the trunk in it with an original trunk from California.
Uh-huh.
So we put a different quarter panel on it too, and that's how we slipped the trunk in.
Well, you also had to, you'd have to find a parts car because they aren't repopping anything for this. You
yes.
can't.
There's a junkyard in, it's called Big M by Sacramento, California, in our Mercury magazine for our IMOA club. They're advertised in there, and so I got a lot of parts from them. My hubcaps are from them, the original hubcaps. So
basically a Merc boneyard?
Yes, they specialize in 1960 Mercurys.
Wow. Well, this is such an interesting grill. Is that all die cast?
I guess so.
Yeah,
I've never touched that stuff besides kind of polishing it. That's original. I painted the inside of that black like it used to be, but the rest of it is just polished.
Wow.
The bumper's been re-chromed,
yeah,
but,
I can tell that.
This is all just the way it was originally.
That's amazing. What's the color?
Tucson turquoise. I painted back to the original color.
I always loved it's a complicated windshield. So she comes up here, but then it, curves down, it wraps around, and there's a bit of a lens effect. Have you ever noticed that?
Yes.
It's kind of weird. And what an interesting, I guess it started at 57 they started with this kind of crazy roof line, but I love it, and I always have loved how it hangs out over the back, but man, you have really done the interior back right too. Is that original fabric?
No, it's not. I replaced the front first. It was all tore up, and then the back didn't match, so I replaced the back. And then it's new carpeting, but this is 20 years ago already, so it's actually starting to show a little wear. So I drive it weekly.
Headliner still looks good. This is really nice. The back window is as cool as the windshield, because again, wraps all the way around. This comes out a full 1.5 to 2 inches. Such a wild look.
It's like a wing almost.
Yeah.
It's like a wing on there.
And this is all stainless trim.
Very good. I didn't know that when I bought it, that there's like 3 situations. That you got the plating on the bumpers, and then you got the stainless here, and then you got like the pop metal right there.
Yeah, and the stainless is real easy to restore, relatively speaking. You can bump it back up pretty well.
Yes, I did all the stainless.
And what a weird bumper too. It encapsulates the taillight, but sort of sticks on and hangs out the side. It's kind of a curious.
You put the whole assembly on together. It was very difficult putting it back on.
It's all a one-piece bumper too? That whole thing is one piece?
No, but when you got the wiring and all that, it's really the easiest to put it all at once. I had clamps on it, and different things around it, trying to keep it together and lift it up and not damage things, as you would know. You gotta be very careful.
Let's go see what moves us down the road.
Okay.
Yep, the safety hood. It was
Yes.
just what they called it back then. Wow, is that the valve color that this thing was supposed to have?
As far as I know,
Really?
when I redid it, I noticed they had painted it orange.
that didn't
so I
look
stripped
right.
it. Yeah, I stripped it. So yeah, things really did not look right.
What is the engine? Is it
It's a 312 two-barrel Holly. It's the smallest engine of all the cars of this body style that year. So I like to say it takes every little horsepower to get this thing moving, or every little chipmunk in there working hard to move it.
it's a pretty heavy car.
Oh yeah, I like to say my car only dreams of squealing to tires because it never will.
So, you're kind of rocking an Abe Lincoln look.
Yes.
So this is a perfect place for you to be here in Springfield, Illinois.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's why I love being here, and actually I imitate Lincoln. And I was in the parade driving this car. I was holding my hat on top of the roof here, and people just, the joy in the people's faces
Yeah.
was just worth it. They just came alive when they saw me driving the car.
Have you been to this show before?
Yeah, we were here, our club was here 11 years ago, and it was fantastic. I love Springfield, just love
It's a
being
nice
here.
town, isn't it?
Yes, oh, absolutely. I loved all the old buildings downtown, and the
Yeah.
parade is just wonderful, and
Yeah,
of
the
all
parade
the
is
people.
great. The architecture is wonderful. Yeah, and you got a great car. 1960 Mercury Monterey.
Yes.
I think if Abe was still around, he'd be proud of you. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hey, the Route 66 Mother Road Festival here in Springfield, Illinois is a great show. Springfield's a really nice city, too. You gotta check this one out.